So this is what we're looking to achieve, a more symmetrical overhead squat. This is something similar to what you're displaying, this swaying over to the right. So first of all, let's warm up the hips with some mobility work. Now the aim here is to move from point A to point B as smoothly as you can. To begin with, I'd always suggest using your hands as a bit of a platform to help you balance as you navigate from the right side to the left side. As you grow in confidence, stability, balance, flexibility and strength, you'll be able to move from point A to point B and do so while keeping your hands in the air. This is something that we'll progress to in future sessions. Next we come to frog walks or malasana walks. Here the aim is to lower the hips towards the ground while keeping the heels rooted, but also, and most importantly for us, making sure that your knees are always kept outside of the big toes. If you notice the knees knocking inward, that's a good indication that the relationship between the inner thighs and the outer hip and the buttocks is dysfunctional. We're trying to correct that. As you improve in your flexibility, mobility, strength, you're going to find that you can travel into much deeper ranges. Now we're looking to inhibit parts of our system. In this case, all the muscles of the lower leg, including the calves and the surrounding muscles. Now we're going to use a technique here called mapping. You can see that my feet are rocking from left to right while the foam roll is travelling up and down the lower part of the back of the leg. This allows me to start to increase the sensitivity and the connection that I have with the fascial layers in this area. So it's not a static hold, there's lots of movement in this, but the movements are very slow and considered. We're going to repeat the same process for the other side. Once again, there are different degrees of tension that you're going to feel here. If you imagine a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being no sensation at all, 10 being excruciating pain, we want to really start to work into a 6, a 7 and 8. More pain isn't better. What we're looking to do is again start to shift the signals that are being sent from the muscle to the brain and from the brain back to the muscle. And so we need to feel something, but discomfort rather than pain. Second area that we're going to use these fascial techniques for is the outside of the left hip. That's important, left hip only. You can see this image on the screen now. We can look anywhere into the glutes, but more specifically, we're trying to find these trigger points on a muscle called the piriformis. So as you come into the figure of 8, you can feel a stretch. And we're going to place the ball along the line of the stretch. Avoid any bony prominences, but you can start to roll your buttock and the outside of the hip and the piriformis up and down the ball and around the ball. Once you find an area of sensation and tenderness, stay there, seal the lips, lengthen the exhale. Now we apply the mapping technique to the inner thigh. Lying on your front, bring the right leg to one side, and very important, this is the right thigh only. You can see the visuals on the screen of the target areas that we're trying to work with, inside of the thigh all the way from the groin down to the inner knee. And then again, using that mapping technique from earlier, just slowly roll your body across the foam roll or the implement that you're using. Again, as a means to notice the sensitivity and tenderness here, and again, stimulate a relaxation response from the body. So now we come to the first of something that's probably more familiar to you within the yoga practice, the static holds. So for this one, we're looking to open up the outside of the left hip. That's very important. So this is the target area that we looked at before when we did the myofascial techniques. Outside of the buttock, but also some deeper tissues called the piriformis. So to do this, the emphasis is on hugging the left knee across the body and bringing the left knee towards the right shoulder. Then sitting the spine nice and tall, and then taking a twist to look over the left shoulder, targeting the outside of the left hip. Now we come to the inner right thigh. This is one of the areas we identified as playing a key role in your movement over to the right. The inner right thigh muscles are likely to be very active, so we want to just desensitize them. It's like turning the volume down on them. So for this one, we extend the right leg, strengthen the right thigh, and then walking back across yourself until you can feel the sensations across the inner thigh. As always, close your eyes, seal the lips, and start to extend the exhale. So phase 3 is to strengthen. Here the focus is the right leg again. So as we come through these hip rotations, one of the really important cues is to make sure that both arms stay locked out and straight. We don't buckle or fall over to the left hand side, and you're endeavouring to keep your heart centered between both hands. Staying with the right side, come into the 90-90-90, left leg forwards. And here, keeping your body and heart rotated over the left knee. Start to lift and rotate the right knee outwardly as much as you can. Slowly moving into a lift where you feel the strength, and then a lowering where the body can relax. Staying with the 90-90-90 or half pigeon pose, let's bring the right leg forwards. But this time we're going to lower the torso and the body over the right knee. Try your best to keep the back nice and straight, shoulder blades together, heart projected forwards. Now here you're making sure that you create the lift from pressing down into the right knee. We're looking to increase the strength of the hip. If you feel you can, float the hands into the air. And this is going to encourage you to anchor down more into the outside of the right knee. Target area here, strengthen the right hip. Now we come into our most challenging exercise so far because we're starting to include balance. Here we're reteaching the hip how to rotate adequately. So it's right leg rooted, and then we're going to rotate from warrior 3 to half moon pose. The more unbalanced the exercise, the more benefit you get. But to begin with, I would suggest coming next to a wall, using the wall to add balance, and really focusing on improving your ability to rotate that right hip. When you're ready to challenge yourself again, come away from the wall, add in that extra element of balance. Lean back's one of my favourite exercises. Here the focus is on keeping the pelvis in that neutral position. So the signal is, if you feel this in the lower back, you're not tucking the hips under enough. If you feel this in the knees, you maybe need to warm up, or maybe you're going too deep. Let's make this more progressive. With each subsequent rep, see if you can get lower and lower and lower. Slow, controlled movements, pressing your feet into the ground. Fourth and final part of our program is to come back to integration. This is where we're trying to get your body to move in more complex, more diverse ways. So here, coming back to the frog walks or frog jumps, as you can see on the right, with again the aim being heels stay rooted, chest is nice and high, and your knees stay outside of the big toes. Finally, we're going to close with a total body flow. Right foot steps on the outside of the right hand, toes turned out. Sweep the right hand back. As you reach the right hand forwards, try to extend your right leg as much as you can. Planting the hands down to take a stretch, take a breath in to lift chin and chest, and then step back bum to heels. Let's go again on the left side, left foot forwards. Left hand sweeps us back into a twist. As the left hand reaches forward, start to extend the left leg as much as you can, and as you plant the left hand, take a stretch. On the inhale, bend the left knee, lift the chin and chest, and then press back. Let's flow 2 or 3 more times. Collect the breath for a moment, seal the lips, and start to focus on balancing the rhythm of the inhale with the rhythm of the exhale. We're coming to our second flow. For this, we're going to come to all fours. Focus on separating the shoulder blades, really anchor into the hands to protract the shoulders. As the knees float, you should now feel the entirety of your front body, stomach, thighs, hip flexors. As you spin underneath, the focus is the heels. Anchor into the heels, find some strength in the hips, in the glutes, the buttocks. Unraveling to come back to the center, you'll bring the knees to the elbows again. Spinning the body underneath, anchoring into the hands, lifting the hips high. Now watch here, as we lift a foot and a hand, it's likely the hips drop. So your focus is anchoring into the heel and create more lift with the hips. And then once again, dropping into child's pose, keeping the lips sealed, balancing the breath. And that's going to bring our practice to a close. Well done today. Thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again soon.